Hi, my name is Carolyn, and I am your Director of Resources and Education this year for HEAL. I am basically in charge of teaching segments and workshops, so definitely stay tuned for those. And yeah, so let's get started with this member vlog, shall we? I want to talk about something that I have struggled with for a very, very long time, like pretty much my entire childhood. That is body image, self-esteem, and bullying. So ever since I was young, I was always the biggest kid. I was always 2 times bigger than my friends and family, and medically, I was always overweight or obese. Coming from a traditional Vietnamese family, they're not really used to seeing someone like me. So whenever they do, they'll tell me things like, "Oh, why are you so fat?" Or "You should really starve or skip a meal. You really don't need to eat." Or things like, "Oh, you'll be much prettier if you just lost weight." And these kind of words really, really hurt me, especially at such a young age too. And it kept going. It was every single day. And it's something, when it comes to weight, it's not something that you can eliminate that easily. It's not like you can just remove all of this the next day. It's a process. But at that moment when they're, telling you things like that, you just want it all to go away as soon as possible. And the problem is that it wasn't just at home, it was also in school. So there would be students that would, this was actually middle school. Middle school was the worst for me when it came to bullying. Classmates would literally come up to me and they would say, "You look like a sumo wrestler," or "You look like a huge whale," or and they wouldn't even call me by my name. They would just say, "A fat girl." So at that point, I felt really worthless, and I felt really lonely because all I could think of was my going home and seeing that they would just put me down, and then going to school and that same thing would happen. And I felt like the only thing that they saw was my weight and how big I was. It didn't matter how well I was doing in school or how great I was doing my extracurriculars. None of that mattered because all that they could see was that I was fat and I was huge, and that was the biggest problem with me. So for a while I felt worthless and I felt lonely and I felt like no one was really attracted to me, no one wanted to be my friend. And it came to the point where so when you go to lunch, you sit with your group people. I felt like I didn't belong, and I felt like I would bother people because of my size, that I would actually take my lunch and I would bring it to the bathroom and actually eat in the bathroom. And it didn't help that I was really shy at that time too. But of course I'm better now because I have found friends who have looked past my weight and actually appreciated me for who I am. So I really, really encourage you guys, if you guys are struggling with some kind of self-esteem issue, you guys should really surround yourself with awesome people, with nice people that will support you no matter what. And you would think that with the support group and everything, I would be okay, right? And I thought that I was completely over it, this whole bullying and self-esteem thing. However, I think it was about a week ago, I went to a theme park with some family friends. And one of my family's friends came up to me and said, "You're so huge." And he started calling me fat, things like that. And of course, you would think that I would just brush it off because, I lost 100 pounds in a year. And of course, I'm better physically. But when he told me that, I immediately regressed into my past self. And I just walked off and I just started crying. And then it was at that moment that I realized that the wound, the emotional trauma that I went through when I was younger is deeper than I thought. And so I wanted to let you guys know, whoever's dealing with, a lot of emotional things, that it's okay to feel that way. And a lot of people think we can just brush it off and like be completely fine, but it's not. It takes a long time for us to gather our confidence back and be able to completely feel okay. Another reason why I wanted to do this video is because I see the same thing with my cousins. Like when I see them, and the times I get to visit home, it's like I'm watching a mini version of myself. So they're also having like some weight issues, but instead of dealing with it in like the right way, like the healthy way, my family members are saying, "Oh, like you should starve. You should skip this meal. Like you need to eat right now. Like look how pretty she is, and look how you're not because you're so big." And it makes me frustrated because I don't want them to feel that way, and they don't deserve to feel that way. And so the moral of the story is that if you're ever dealing with any body image issues or anything of that sort, that it's okay. It's okay to feel that way. And everyone thinks that body image and like self-esteem is like a physical thing, that if we just ran a mile or if we lifted, we would be okay. But it's not. There's a emotional, mental aspect of it that needs to be addressed and needs to be appreciated so that we can move forward together and no one has to go through the emotional trauma and the sadness. So I wanted to go ahead and add something before I end this video, and that is, for a lot of us, we tend to pick something that we don't like about ourselves and we become fixated on it. And because we're so focused on it, we think we're not beautiful because of that single aspect. But let me tell you, there is so many other beautiful things about you that totally makes this one aspect of yourself like mean nothing. And I just wanted to remind you guys that you guys are wonderful, you guys are beautiful, and there is only one of you in this world, only one. And no one can be just like you. So take your unique self and be the best that you can be. And I know it's really hard not to compare yourself to others, but I just want to remind you guys that there are people who appreciate you and think you're beautiful and think you're wonderful. And you shouldn't listen to people who put you down. So yeah, stay strong, stay wonderful. Love you.